it just came to the point where football had to win. So to us, it was a great relief, and watching such a great goal. Then
Iñaki, just before I let that comment pass, let's be absolutely clear. Iniesta, for one, dived several times. That's cheating, isn't it?
I think everyone dived a bit in that game.
And Graham Poll, if you were in a game where lots of players were going down, would you yellow card them one after the other, or how would you approach a situation where it's happening en masse?
Yeah, you have to accept. If you're giving out card after card, for example, we saw both Spanish and Dutch players surrounding Howard Webb on many, many occasions. You know, it's not good to see. And you could say, well, just caution them all. But there's no credibility in that. You've got 5 players around you and you go 5 yellow cards, of which 2 have already been cautioned. You're sending 2 players off. You know the reaction to that. And therefore, you've got to do your best to manage that. The same as if you caution every player that he goes over unfairly. It's an almost impossible task. And maybe we're getting to the stage where we should say, actually, just apply the laws of the game as they're written. If it spoils the game, blame the players for spoiling the game, for making the tackles and diving, rather than blaming the referee.
Could end up with a 5-a-side if you're not careful.
You can't do that, because there must be 7 on a team.
Is that right? Okay.
That's the minimum number of players required.
Otherwise you stop the game.
Once you go below 7, the match is abandoned.
I didn't know that. If Howard Webb had applied the law, we could have seen the game end early last night in Soccer City. OK, let's try second time lucky with Rich Mkhondo from the 2010 World Cup Organising Committee, live with us from South Africa. Rich, some people have been suggesting, including BBC correspondents, that South Africa delivered the tournament, but the football let South Africa down. Is that how you feel? Rich, can you hear us? Doesn't sound like we can. Well, I'll ask the same question to Doreen. Doreen, did you feel that while South Africa hosted the tournament brilliantly, the standard of football, the entertainment levels, weren't what we were hoping for?
Okay, for me, I would say, okay, like it was a very great honor for World Cup to be hosted on African soil. And for South Africa to host the World Cup this year, it was just amazing. And I believe that they did a good job. There was a lot of pressure, there was a lot of challenges. They had kind of to prove to the world that they can do it and everything will run smoothly. And for me, it's a big achievement, not only for South Africa, but for the whole continent. And that, for me, I would say that at least African has shown something to the rest of the world, that we can really do it. There's a lot of positive things going on in the whole continent that the world doesn't know, because the media kind of focuses a lot more on negative things. And for me, this step that South Africa has taken through this World Cup, it's a big achievement for the whole continent.
Well, Doreen, you're saying that the media concentrates on too many negative things when it comes to Africa. I expect that's a feeling Graham knows well from refereeing. We've still got Lars in the Netherlands. Before I speak to you, Lars, let's pull up another email that's come in through our blog, worldhaveyoursay.com. Salman has got in touch. He says, I was disappointed by the performance of all those stars with multi-million-dollar price tags. The star performer for me was Paul the Octopus. Well, that's certainly true. He got 8 out of 8, which was impressive. But Iñaki in Madrid, it is true the big names didn't deliver in this tournament. Why do you think that was?
I think it was pretty much everyone was really tired. It just seemed that the fitness of most players was just miles off their best. And I mean, I don't know if that's to just ask about whether our league systems are just a bit too taxing, but it was quite a big difference with the South American teams, and they actually play in Europe. So, I mean, what was it about? Was it the trainings? Was it the weather? I don't know. I just feel that they underachieved majorly, but I cannot find a single clear reason why.
It was astonishing, and I don't think anyone would have predicted that Thomas Muller would have won the Golden Boot, Forlan would pick up the Golden Ball. The players, maybe the unsung heroes of some of their teams, have come through and overshadowed the big stars of the team. Graham, let's talk a little bit about what FIFA can do between now and 2014. We've seen Jerome Valcke acknowledge that some changes need to be brought in. If you could say, do 3 things, this will make the game better, what would they be?
Well, firstly, you've got to give referees more help. I mean, I think FIFA have now acknowledged that, in whatever form that is. I think we'll see the extra 2 officials, one behind each goal, be brought in. That's going to be tried in the Champions League and also the European Championship qualifiers. So that I think, once you go down that route, you're not going to come back from that. I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see the fact where we actually say to referees, look, those are the laws. I don't care where we are in the World Cup, send them off. If players misbehave like that, if players crowd you, we will support you 100%.
So extra officials,
if you're strong.
strict enforcement.
Strict enforcement.
And
I would say let's not bring a new ball in at the start of a World Cup. Let's get it in at the qualifying campaign so the players play with that ball throughout the 2 years of qualifying, and then they're all used to it. And we won't have this farce which we had with this new Adidas ball.
Although interestingly, Forlan seemed to master it. He and the Japanese players seem to be the only players in South Africa who could actually keep the ball down and stick it in the net rather than over the bar. Let's go back to Lars, who's in the Netherlands, because Lars, there's been this passionate debate in Holland about the style of play you've adopted. Do you think now you've lost this final, you need to go back to the beautiful style of play we associate with your country?
Well, I think we have to go back to the total football. We know it from Cruyff and other players. And that is what we should do, I think, because this is just on efficiency, and it is at all not beautiful. And next to that, I want to say that we have to kill Octopus Paul, because, well, that's obvious. He thinks he's right all the time. I don't like it. But we have to go to the total football we know from '88 when we won the European Championships, I think. That was a lot better.
Lars, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to pull up one more email on the general tournament. This has come in from Jeremy in Namibia. He says, in the end, the best team won, but the biggest winners of the competition is the whole of South Africa. Graham's nodding his head. I know lots of BBC World Service listeners have been phoning into World Cup Have Your Say and saying much the same. Let's also turn to the future now. 2014, Brazil's going to be hosting. Iñaki, you're in Madrid. There'll be some worried fans around the world wondering how many more players like this you've got in the pipeline.
Well, obviously the Spanish team has benefited a lot from the improved youth system that started after Barcelona '92, and I think you know, if we keep it like that, then the likelihood is we may actually become contenders more often, and not just the eternal underachievers as we were. And now that we've written that off, then perhaps we can win some more major tournaments.
I think that underachievers tag has gone for good. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let's bring in Hamilton now. He's with us from Sao Paulo State in Brazil. Brazil's going to be hosting in 2014. Hamilton, what lessons do you want your country to learn from South Africa?
There are many points I think we have to learn. First of all is organization. We have noticed that unfortunately many stadiums were late construction, and this is one of the problems we're having here in Brazil. Those stadiums have not started building yet, so we are facing many problems, political and between the Brazilian organization, soccer organization, and I hope they will start doing something really soon about it, or else we won't be able to host the World Cup.
So it's interesting how the same doubts come around, Graham, hearing the doubts about the construction and whether it's on time or not. We heard all this about South Africa, and they did deliver. Do you think the watching world needs to show a little more patience with the host country?
Yes, I do, and I think the media need to learn from that, because South Africa were dealt a particularly poor hand by the media. They're reporting the fears about crime and, you know, everyone will be mugged and everything else. It never came to be, and that's something I think the media really should learn. FIFA look at these venues very, very closely before awarding the most prestigious football tournament to them. And, you know, South Africa did us proud. I know everyone that went out there, whether they're journalists or members of the public, said it was a fantastically well-organised tournament. Yes, there were problems with potential transport to and from a stadium, but nothing that was insurmountable, nothing that spoilt their enjoyment.